So now we're going to move to something a little more, I'm going to say qualitative. So I'm here to tell you a story. And this story happens in a place that's not too far away, where I had an amazing adventure and I wanted to share it with you. So stories usually start in a place far away, but this one's in Tucumcari, New Mexico. For those of you who don't know, Tucumcari is eastern New Mexico. It's by Texas. It's a small, kooky town. It's really known for neon lights and historic Route 66. But it's easy to forget that people live here and that they're actually amazing people. So I had an adventure that started in a castle. And this isn't a normal castle. This is a castle of Tucumcari. This is the railroad station that built Tucumcari. It's incredibly important to the people of Tucumcari. And it symbolized their town. And so they all got together and revitalized it. And it was great. So the person who revitalized this is named Mark Lake, and he is the head of the Tucumcari Main Street, and he's kind of my wizard for this story. He's the one who helped me set off on my journey to find what I needed to from Tucumcari. So Tucumcari's Main Street program is kind of a funky thing too. So Mark is a clerk in the church. He's an artist. He's a local Tucumcarian. And he told me to go to Main Street and look around, and he gave me a magic tool to look around, and this is the tool. It's a screwdriver. And he said that everything I needed to find would be open with this screwdriver. So I wish I was joking. So I'm walking around Tucumcari looking for something to open with this screwdriver, and I find the exact thing I'm looking for. The Princess. This is the Princess Theater. It's a beautiful theater, but it has fallen into disrepair because of a lot of things. And so I take my special tool and I pry my way in there like a little vandal, architect student, with the whole town watching me. Why the screwdriver now? And I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something amazing or beautiful or remnant of this space. And I get in there, and I'm expecting to be just bowled over by how beautiful it's going to be. And it is for its most part, and it's not for a lot of parts. And if you're like me, if you're an architect or designer or just human, this is beautiful and startling and sad all at once. It was this vibrant place that had just fallen into disrepair. So I got a little sad. So I started wandering around. And I left this building, and I found this building, the Odeon. It is a theater that's kind of the underdog of the community. It opened in 1937. It was a great place, and it made me feel better. And then, as I'm leaving the Odeon in this beautiful theater that the community's come together to save, I meet this guy, and I call him my knight in plaid armor. Doug has painted over 400 murals along Route 66. He's an amazing guy. And his artwork is iconic for Route 66. You can't miss it. When you see it, it is beautiful. And he's kind of a funny guy, and he told me about, and you can see his work, he told me about a photographer he knew that would have pictures of Tucumcari and what I was looking for. And the photographer would know him as the guy who had done something really cool in previous years. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, I burned down this building. And I said, what? And he goes, yeah, it was an accident. I was roofing with a bunch of buddies. The whole town knows about it. And we left the torch on and went to get beer, and when we came back, the whole place was burning down. If you note, the inspector doesn't know what started it. So the whole town has a joke that, remember, if it doesn't work out, just burn the building down, which has happened to most of the buildings, so it's kind of funny and kind of not. So back to my building, though. So the building that he did burn down, though, is pretty funny because it's like the Frankenstein of this Tucumcari town. People either love it or hate it. They want to tear it down or they want to keep it as an art installation. The town literally cannot be in the same room and talk about it. They get into like almost fist fights. It's pretty awesome, I'm not going to lie. But I digress. Back to the photographer. So I go to meet this curmudgeon of a photographer, and his name is James Crocker, and he is the only local in this whole town, only person from Tucumcari. He has the whole history of Tucumcari photographed, and he doesn't want to share it, and he doesn't want to let me have any of it. And finally, after tears and kicking and screaming, he shows me a few pictures and then kicks me out. So I go to the bar, and these murals are actually Doug again. He painted them. He's very, very amazing. And I meet this woman, Grace, and she is just the most amazing bartender. And she listens to my story and listens to everything I've had to say about Tucumcari. And she pours me a beer after beer, and I call her the queen of Tucumcari because she just made me feel absolutely amazing about Tucumcari, I'm not going to lie. And this is another one of Doug's paintings for Grace. And Grace had words of advice for me. She said, after all of this weepy story about this building that I'd come to see and it was torn down and terrible and all these burnt-out buildings, she said, I've learned one thing from living in Tucumcari. She said, we keep all moving, time keeps moving, and no matter how we keep thinking it's going to change, it never does, it just keeps moving. And so, I don't know how this story ends, and I kind of don't want to. I want to always make up how it ends in my mind, but I know it'll keep going. And that's it for me.